Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Kuat NV 2.0 two-bike platform rack right here on our 2022 Toyota Tundra. The Kuat NV is the premium bike rack that checks off all those boxes plus more. It's something that looks good and works great. And we'll talk about those different features, but I'm gonna focus here on our Tundra. If you have those nicer bicycles and you wanna make sure you protect them as you transport them from one point to another, you're not throwing them right into your truck bed. You're gonna go look for a good bike rack, and that's where the NV comes in handy. We'll focus on those features in relation to our truck here. That way you can see what is the best fit for you, your different types of bikes, and your Toyota Tundra. One big question about bike racks is, can I still lower my tailgate even with my bikes on? So we'll take a look at that feature. We have a lever here. Just pull that lever and let your bike rack drop down. And let's see if we have clearance for our tailgate. As we lower these, we get really close, but we hit the tip-top bottom of our gears. So you can still get pretty good access to your truck bed, but you can't completely lower it. You are gonna have to take the bike off. Good thing is, it's a really easy process. Let me guide you through that. So this rack is holding down our bike by two touch points. One is gonna be our rear wheel strap, the other is gonna be our front wheel mount. Quick side note, I like pretty much every bike rack that has a front wheel mount just because it makes things so much easier. If I had a carbon fiber frame bike like this, the other bike racks have hooks that come down and clamp it by the frame. I don't have to worry about that with this rack. Also, if you have step-through bikes, women's bikes, children's bikes, this makes it easier because then you don't have to get adapters or frame adapter bars. But when you want to take your bike off, you just start over by the rear wheel strap. You press this lever and lift up on the strap. I like to just slide it out to the side or so it doesn't get caught up in our spokes. And then you hold on to the bike, press this button, lift that up, push that out. And just like that, you can take your bike off and go for a ride. So now you can see that with our bike off, we can now lower the tailgate. Still no. Okay, so you're gonna have to tilt your rack away, and then you have access to your truck bed. As you can see here, that angle from the bottom of our tailgate to the top of the bike rack, it looks like it almost touches, but we're clear right there. So let's bring this back up and talk about the rack itself. Here in the back, we have our rear wheel strap. This can move back and forth to accommodate for those different wheelbases as it secures your rear wheels. If you have tire sizes that are wider than 3 inches, so your extreme fat bike tires, you are gonna have to get the fat bike straps to carry that. Another thing I recommend taking a look at is, since this has a 60-pound weight capacity and can carry your heavy electric bikes, you can get the access ramp that clips right into your bike rack, and then you can glide your bike up before you mount it. We have a front wheel cradle with those grooves for those different size tires, and then we have our front wheel mount. Notice how pretty our bike rack is too though. So I have the gunmetal gray with those nice orange accents. You can also get this as metallic black. That would actually look nice against the silver of our Tundra. Or you can get the matte black version. The difference between that is that's gonna be the base version and does not have the bike repair stand. Now with pretty much anything attached to your hitch, there's gonna be some length added to the back of your truck. So let's take some measurements to see exactly how much. Measuring from our bumper here to the end of the rack, in our case, the bike repair stand, it sits at 34 inches of length. The Kuat NV base is gonna have a little bit less length to that, but there's still a measurement to keep in mind when you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a tight spot. I already know that your truck takes up a good amount of space in your garage, so if you have a small one, this could make a difference. Now we'll measure for ground clearance. And with trucks like this, the ground clearance is a little bit different. So measuring at the end of the rack to the ground, it sits at 28 inches. Measuring from the shank to the ground, it sits at 18 1/4 inches. Usually, Ground clearance is important when they go up steep inclines because you want to make sure your bikes don't hit the ground. In our case here, you're not worried about your bikes hitting the ground. You're more concerned about how high do you have to lift your heavy electric bikes to get them up onto the rack. So in that case, because we have such a high ground clearance, you're actually lifting your bikes about 30 inches up off the ground. That's when I highly recommend taking a look at the Kuat NV Access ramp to help you out with that. Well, what if you're just planning on driving around town? You don't want to take up too much extra space behind your truck. What you can do is you can move this into the compact position. So we have this lever here. You're going to want to pull that lever, but instead of tilting it down, you're going to push up and against the truck. So let's take some measurements. Measuring for closest point, it's going to be from our bumper to our bike rack, and that's a distance of 5 inches away, so plenty of clearance there. The length now added to the back of our truck is going to be bumper to the trace, 9.5 inches, and then bumper to out where that knob is, it's going to be 17 inches. With it in this position, notice too how usually I would step up on this to bring this down, but if you're short like me, this might be a bit more accessible for you. But what is it like living with a bike rack behind your truck all the time? Well, notice that it's short enough where it doesn't go above the tailgate. You can expand this though and carry up to 4 bikes with a Kuat NV if you get the 2 bike add-on. So that would give you a good amount of height there, but a lot of capacity for more bikes. Notice also how wide it is. It doesn't go past our tailgate. Our taillights are visible. It does cover our license plate though, so that's definitely something worth keeping in mind. Now I did back up our car with this on, and I noticed that I could still see behind the bike rack. So if there are vehicles or cars or objects behind you, you'll still see the bike rack and those objects. There's different options for the Kuat NV. One has the 1.25" shank, the other has a 2" shank. You're gonna wanna get the one with the 2" shank, especially if you wanna add on to it. That pops right into our hitch receiver. We have a hitch pin and a lock. That lock is actually key to the integrated cable locks you're gonna find on each of your trays. That way you can secure your bikes and your bike rack with one key. It's a tool-free install, so rather than having to carry around a socket wrench, you just pop it into your hitch, put the hitch pin in, and tighten it down with this knob. This extends a ball cam to make it nice and secure inside of your hitch receiver. To demonstrate how that ball cam works, as I shake our bike rack just to kind of try to simulate that road movement and vibration, look at how easily I'm just moving the truck at this point. That's because that connection is nice and secure. If you want to make sure your bikes have a smoother ride overall, it's really good that there is not extra rattle there from an improper fit. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action, and this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. My personal thoughts about the Kuat NV is for your bikes of different shapes, different sizes, different prices, this is definitely a great option for you. You can expand this to up to 4 bikes, and that's even cooler. Now, one thing about this is the version I have has the bike repair stand. So if you don't have a repair stand in your garage, you can use your truck to set that all up and do some work on your bike. There's going to be the version of the Kuat NV base, has the exact same features, just without that repair stand. Now, if you are expanding to carry more bikes, you may also want to take a look at the Kuat Transfer V2. That is a bit larger, but also easier to mount and dismount your bikes. Either way, this checks off all the boxes. Hopefully this video helped you out with figuring out what kind of features you need for your different bikes and for your truck. This was a look at the Kuat NV 2.0 2-bike platform rack right here on our 2022 Toyota Tundra.